PANTSULA, a so-called rebellious dance form that was created in 1950 or during the apartheid era in South Africa, in the east and the west side of Johannesburg. Remember, white people used to say wiggling like a duck because of its sharp and fast movements. The police, the government and the community hated it. Say PANTSULA dancers are criminals, thugs, are killers, are like bad people for the community. So this is where it started. Before 1950, it wasn't yet called PANTSULA, it was called Pata Pata. The Pata Pata dance is more like older people, like urban working people. It was more like a swing dance, you know, the boys would be dancing with the girls, and during the weekend they would create like a small gatherings where they would have fun or there would be friends to hang out with. Because during that time, the apartheid laws didn't allow black people to gather and have parties. So these guys, they would go around to like squatter camps or like, you know, small shebeens during the night where there's no cops or spies. They would put someone on top of the shack to check on the coast. You know, someone would be having like a flashlight, or they would whistle if anything goes wrong, or if they would see a car passing by, because in those areas are like a very, very poor areas where you barely see a car or a scooter. So if they see a car, they will know it's either cops or someone that doesn't belong to the squatter camp. And if something happened, they will disappear like there was no party ever. So these guys, during their weekend, they would wear sharp, they would wear like their ties and their suit and their nice shoes. The young guys from the township started adopting the style, liking how the older guys are dancing, how they dress. This is where PANTSULA come from. So the dance itself was inspired by the environment they're living in. The train that they used to take to go to work or go to school back, the public transportation that they used to take, how they used to call taxis. You know, they use signs like 1, 3, 7, depending on where you are and where you wanna go. So the movement itself, from riding the trains, there's a step called isparapara, because when you're riding a train, you know, you'll go in and out, and then every time they go out, there's a sound that goes like parada. You know, they'll go in and parada, parada, parada. So in most cases in PANTSULA, this is the first step they're gonna teach you. So PANTSULA itself got inspired by the life itself they were living at the time. You know how the roads are, how the houses are built, because in most cases in South Africa, the houses are built in pairs. The houses are like straight up. Our lines of the houses were built that way, were built in squares. So when you see PANTSULA, you cannot just see 1 or 3. It has to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and on. So the evolution of the dance itself, you know, the older guys used to use like jazz music and just low, like swing kind of music. With PANTSULA and their fast movement, they had to change the music completely. They started PANTSULA whistling, clapping, slapping. Then after that, they started using rave music, house music, garage music, but then didn't fit their profile of dance. And then in 1990, the Kwaito music was introduced in South Africa. That's when PANTSULA got like really popular, not only in South Africa, but the whole world. And they started adapting to different style, like the African Western dance. It's more like they use like the hip, they little bit of hip hop. The PANTSULA, they started changing their clothes from the adult suits and stuff, and then now they were wearing Dickies and Converse. It's really trying to make it more modern. So this is where PANTSULA is today. The dance itself was telling the story to start with, the oppression, the apartheid, and trying to tell a positive story. The government or the cops and the community used to think that this is a bad dance, but PANTSULA, it was never like a criminal dance or a thug dance. This is how they were used to look, and then because of that, they got the name.